ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. Ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. It's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. Ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. Talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it.
this a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
Everybody to another episode of Here with Brian Parker. I am he. Can you hear me?
Go to the mic a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear your fan.
That's not my fan. That's my computer.
Oh, wow. Why is it so loud? What's wrong with your computer?
I have no fan on. It's just the fan.
From the computer?
Yeah, because I have my laptop right here.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes.
How about now?
Yes.
You hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, y'all. Sorry about that. Let's try this again. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Head to Head with Brian Parker. I am he. And we are back for another week of talk going on in the world, political news and stuff like that. Let's see. Do we already have a comment? Hey, man. How you doing there? We're doing all right, trying to get my technical difficulties resolved. I don't know what it is. When I do the sports show, I have no issue with this mic. I think it's you. It's got to be you.
And then we'll also talk about this later in the show as we get into some of the topics. But are you going to throw me under the bus like DE&I and everything else?
We'll see. Yeah, I think you're a DEI hire. For sure, you're definitely a DEI hire. I should have went with a higher skilled of labor, but just because I knew you and you're black and a woman, I had to, plug you into this position. So
yeah,
there were other candidates that were more qualified, but I had to damn it DEI you into it. So that's my fault. Anyway,
well, maybe you'll put an executive order and write me the heck out, or give me a severance package.
I could do that. Well, everybody, thank you for joining. We are streaming live and direct on Instagram, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, The Unsung Hero. Yeah, something like that. Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook Live, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, as well as Roku TV. If you haven't already, please help us with our drive to 10,000 subscribers by going over to our YouTube channel under Empower TV, the letter N, Power TV Network. And please give us a free subscribe. It does help with the algorithm out there on YouTube to be able to pop up in different feeds and things like that. Those algorithms really go better when there's plenty of subscribers and plenty of views out there. So, and also once you do that, please click the bell. It'll let you know anytime that we go live or post new content. And no matter what platform you're streaming from, please make sure that you like, but most importantly, share it so other people can be able to see what it is that you're watching. If you're watching this live, we thank you. If you're watching this on a replay, We thank you for that as well. If it's your first time on the show, welcome. Empower has been around for about 4 years. Head to Head with Brian Parker has been around for just that long. And we dive into the world of news and politics. And pretty much it's because whether people acknowledge it or not, almost everything that you do in your life has some tie to politics, whether you accept that, whether you dive into that, whether you participate in that, you are being affected by decisions that are being made by people that we elect to represent us. And your voice is necessary. Your voice needs to be heard. And we talk about those different things without blowing smoke or sunshine, without beating around the bush. We get right into it in direct. Lori, programming note, franchise should be here shortly. Got a little stuck in traffic, but I did get a text that he is on the way. So please look out for him for me. Also, if you are a business owner, if you have events, if there's products that you sell and you would like to promote them, because our platform does reach out over YouTube, like I said, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Amazon Fire, Roku TV, well over 300 million viewers that are out there. Not that we get all 300 million. Don't go crazy. But Roku and Amazon Fire TV hail over 150 million users each. So you have an opportunity, if you would like to partner with us, to be able to promote your goods, services, events, products that you want to be able to let others know that you have available. Even if it's your side gig, you got a main gig, but you do it on the side. If you're an author and you're writing books and you would like to be able to promote those, please let us know how we can help. We can either do reads of a still shot, or we can actually try to cut up and produce a commercial. One of those examples is from our friend Shanine and Sheldon Muldrow, who came out with a book called Sawyer, Kid Lawyer. It is a children's book. It is, I believe she said, a trilogy. And she's already, I believe, finished the second book. I don't think it's come to print yet, but I think she's already finished it. So that should be coming out soon. If you haven't gotten the first in the series, make sure you do that. It really will help your little one with reading and writing. And here's a short commercial of Sawyer, Kid Lawyer.
Introducing Sawyer, Kid Lawyer, Teacher versus Nap Time, a great book that will help your little one with reading, writing, and spelling. Coming from the authors, Shanine and Sheldon Muldrow. Please check this book out and support. Thank you so much.
Are we back?
Yes.
All right. I apologize. My signal is really, really slow, so I'm seeing a delay.
Oh, yes. Looks like you're trying to break dance in your seat slowly.
Wow. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. Again, I didn't have this issue on the sports show yesterday, so can't really tell
I
you.
don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's the van that's circling the neighborhood again, because we're in that time of season.
I just noticed it kind of comes and goes. Now it could be the amount of tabs that I have open on my computer. That is a possibility. Let me try to reduce some of these tabs that I don't necessarily need and see if that helps with the speed while I'm talking. Because that could be. Plus, I actually have a third monitor now tied to this computer, so they may be doing it too, actually. So let me unplug that monitor and see if I can get some speed, Lori. Damn it.
We need the flash to come rolling through here or something.
It's crazy because one of the things that I always have an issue with too is that I have OneDrive that automatically backs up everything, and during the show, I normally pause OneDrive so that it doesn't continue to run in the background and pull. I don't know if you ever had that issue with OneDrive. Sometimes, like if you hear your computer running really hard and stuff like that, you have to see
Maybe.
sometimes if you got OneDrive running in the background, trying to back up your stuff at the same time that you're trying to stream and things like that.
Maybe that's what you're hearing with the fan. Maybe.
Yeah, it's processing. Yeah, it shouldn't be running that hard, but if it is, then it's probably processing.
Okay. Well, we'll try to fix it.
Yeah, we'll try to fix it. Trying to fix it on the fly. But anyway, so that was just a little commercial because the whole time the commercial was going, I couldn't hear anything and it was frozen the whole time. So when I asked you, did we come back live? It was because the still shot was still there, but I thought that it had probably run enough time that it was over.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's how slow it was.
Oh wow.
See, now it looks like I'm speeding back up now, so I don't feel like I'm frozen. Okay. So that could have been it. Still a little bit behind, but it's bad. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for hanging on with us, going through our technical gremlins as they are. Wanted to get back on. Sorry we missed you last week. I was out of town in cold Columbus, Ohio for my day job, and was actually, by the time Thursday came around at this time, I was actually at the Atlanta airport waiting to come back. But before we even get started to anything, we just want to, we want to throw out our thoughts and prayers to the families that were impacted by the crash at DCA last night with the commercial flight. It really does hit home with me because the flight crew was based out of Charlotte for the American Airlines flight. So everyone on the plane and in the helicopter did not survive. And, that is very tragic. And I opened the show by saying that almost everything has a political lean to it. And unfortunately, something this tragic did as well. It should not have, but within less than a day of this happening, the new president, who is the former president as well, decided to blame people for what happened without an investigation being completed. Using everything as a political opportunity is just totally classless. When there's a school shooting and Democrats rush and they say, this is why we need ban on assault weapons. This is why we need to pass background checks, comprehensive gun reform, all these kind of things. The first thing that you'll hear Republicans say is, now's not the time. We need to focus on the people that are grieving. Anytime there's a shooting, first thing they love to say, we don't need to talk about that right now. These people ain't been dead for 24 hours. And Donald Trump is already blaming the dumbest of shit, including diversity. He wants you to believe, and this is a Republican thing. DEI is the new code word for black and brown. That's all it means. They believe that it means didn't earn it, that it's an affirmative action on steroids, that the only way for things to have gone right is if the appropriate white people had been in position and none of this would have happened. They use it to say, oh, if there's a black pilot on a plane, I have to wonder, did he really earn his position as a pilot, or was it given to him because he was black? When the same thing could be said for a white person. Was he given that position because maybe his father was a pilot? Was he given that position because he knew somebody in higher ups at Delta or whatever airline it is? See, DEI doesn't ever mean anything related to white people. That's how you know that they use it as a slur. But see, they can't say the N word the way they want to, so they say DEI and hide under the umbrella that, hey, I didn't say the N word. I'm not racist. You're making it about race. You're playing the race card. Really? Because the only time you seem to make DEI sound like it's a bad thing is when it talks about something that has nothing to do with white people. That's pretty damn racist. When you try to say that DEI is a way of subverting choosing the best, you are mischaracterizing DEI. All DEI basically says is, hey, white man, there are people other than non-melanin people that can do the job just as well as you can. And this initiative is going to make sure that those people get the same shot that you have grown up with the privilege of all of your freaking life. But now the assault on DEI is real. And Lori, I mean, you hear about all these different companies pulling their DEI programs and stuff back and all of those kind of things because they are fearing Donald Trump's wrath as far as amen, Brad. Thank you for joining, Brad. Amen. Feeling Donald Trump's wrath, so they are preemptively trying to get ahead of it and be in his good graces. Brad brought up a great point, but here's the problem with it, Brad. Brad says, if I'm not mistaken, the greatest beneficiaries of DEI have been white women. Absolutely. DEI,
Yes.
Title IX, women's suffrage. White women have benefited from a lot of that stuff. Yet white women still vote against their self-interest, whether it's bodily autonomy, when it comes to being able to say what they can, what they will and will not do with their own bodies. They have deferred to the men. They've almost been have Stockholm syndrome, where they are voting against their own self-interest to preserve white nationalism. It's like, I will forego my own bodily autonomy. I will forego all of the opportunities that I've gotten through women's initiatives. There are laws out there that, hey, a certain amount of contracts and this and that and the other have to go to minorities and women. That includes white women. And it's because for too long, being black was still going to keep you from being able to get the same afforded opportunities that a white person could get. It's funny how white folks are trying to flip DEI into some kind of reverse affirmative action.
Brian,
yes.
Yes, that is true. Actually, yesterday I was actually on a because I work in human resources. I was on a SHRM call of the Society of Human Resource Management, which had about 32,000 people on this call, which was actually trying to break down and give some guidance on Trump's first 8 days and the executive orders, again with federal contractors, and how it's going to affect going forward. And it's just very disheartening and scary on what he's doing.
You can see where he's going with this. Is basically trying to turn them and listen. What was Make America Great about anyway, but turning things back to a time when white folks were in control of everything. Because if you go back far enough, you had Jim Crow. If you go even further back than that, hell, you damn near in Reconstruction and then slavery. Brad says, my apologies for being late. Please help me understand something. Trump's comments today, where did they come from? Was there a black LGBTQ or woman air traffic controller? Asking honestly because I missed most of the news today. He just started Brad, he pulled it out the crack of his ass. What happened was this fool showed up at the White House press avail where his little young press secretary, I guess, stepped in it yesterday. So he decided to come out there and just started throwing out things about how it's very likely that DEI had something to do with this.
And Biden as well.
And he wanted to use it also as a way to say that because Joe Biden's administration had DEI initiatives all through the federal government, Pete Buttigieg did with Department of Transportation and things like that. FAA was being affected by diversity, equity, and inclusion. What's up, cousin John? All the way from Japan. Unbelievable. Yeah. So he basically just came out there and just started spewing that because of all those things. And I'm going to give you another kicker that's crazy too, that's connected to that. So he just started blaming Biden and Pete Buttigieg for making a very highly skilled position like air traffic controller and the FAA be subject to not hiring the best people, but filling a quota based on race, skin color, et cetera, where there's no evidence of any of that. And people asked him at the press conference, you're saying all this stuff, do you have any evidence? And he goes, well, no, that's just what we're thinking right now. Well, based on what? Oh, based on the fact that I'm a fucking racist. That's what it is. Everything that's wrong in this country is because of people that do not look like him, his family, his wife, most of the people that stormed the Capitol, whether it's the Mexicans, whether it's black folks being given jobs as pilots, air traffic controllers. Well, there's no way in the world that you could have black pilots and black air traffic controllers. Surely there's enough white people out there to do all of those jobs.
I before you go on to your question, I was just going to raise, but we have an air traffic controller shortage. So clearly we must have enough white people who are raising their hands to get for the shortage, because we have a shortage of air traffic controllers. And we're in a desperate need because of Lori, aging out.
If you let them tell it, there's plenty of them there, but because DEI is in place, only so many white people can be hired, because then you have to proportionately hire unqualified or lesser qualified people of color. That's the narrative. That's the narrative. Because it kind of reminds me, even to a lesser extent, about how the NFL used to be back in the day, Lori, where it'd be rare to have a black quarterback because people had in their mind that black people were strong, they were fast, they were physically gifted, but didn't have a whole lot going on between the ears. Couldn't process plays, couldn't process this, couldn't do that, and that, and that. And now you see the NFL is involved because in the Super Bowl, you got two black quarterbacks going against each other. Not Josh Allen, not Joe Burrow, not Justin Herbert, not Trevor Lawrence. I'm naming all the white quarterbacks. And nothing to say that they're not talented. But when you look at that, that's what you got now. Yeah, she's a real piece of work. I expect her to say you niggers any day now. Yeah. The press secretary. I believe it. That's what they want to say. But they say DEI so that they can get away without having to say it. That's their code word. It's their safe word to be able to say it without saying it. DEI, more likely than not, had nothing to do with what happened last night. But here's the kicker. We don't know. But this piece of trash actually had an executive order written up today. An executive order proclamation that the failings of the travel up till last night is because of Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg. He had this written up as an executive order today. That the reason that now he misses the point where Elon Musk forced the FAA guy out last week, where they've been trying to, you're on mute, where they've been trying to push people out of key positions and they haven't been filled.
And they can't investigate.
Yes, he did that. But he's trying to rewrite history that ain't even that long in history, and because he doesn't want to take any blame or anything for something that happens. He will blame shift. God knows if COVID or something like that comes up again, Barack Obama is going to face a military tribunal because it was his fault.
And Dr. Fauci as well. Because remember, He no longer has Secret Service. So he can't be protected.
And Brad, you're absolutely right. Even if that guy was in place, accidents happen. Hey, how about this? The last time we had a major airplane accident was in 2009. It has been literally that long since we've had one. That spanned his administration, Joe Biden's administration. So you're right, Brad. If what Pete Buttigieg and Joe Biden had done was so systemically bad, why haven't there been more instances? So the math don't even math. Like, if what they did was so bad, how come they didn't have a problem during the whole 4 years? See, you can't take credit for everything. You can't say because there were no accidents, we did everything right. Accidents happen. It could have been, we'll find out. Just chalk it up. It could just be a true accident. It's an unfortunate one because a lot of people lost their lives. But the problem, Brad, is this piece of crap took it as an opportunity. He didn't take this as a tragic event. He took it as another opportunity to throw stones at the previous administration. because he still can't get over the fact that he lost to this person. He's petty. He really is. He's sick. He's very, very petty. So there's that. But I'm going to give JD Vance credit. Donald Trump's statement when this happened was 2 sentences, and they were both stupid. Terrible what happened, sad, something like that. Very, nothing about, our hearts go out to the families. As a country, we all should come together and, lift these people up in prayer and this and that and the other, we'll help any way we can. At least JD Vance posted something like that. Whether he meant any of it or not, whether he had a publicist do it for him or whatever, on his feed, it actually sounded like somebody in office. So you peep how it happened. He comes in, he reads the first couple of sentences from his prepared statement, and then he goes into his real sick. Oh, about Trumpy. Yeah, he can't control himself. He has no self-control. He they'll give him a bunch of lines and stuff like that, thinking that he can be good Donald. He can act presidential. He can't. It's against his nature. They try to get him to stay on script. He can't stay on script. He always has to go off because his number one, I honestly think this, Brad, his mind wanders. That's why when you listen to him during the campaign and he would do this whole thing that he called the weave, it wasn't intentional. His weave was never intentional. He knew that he was weaving, but he tried to make it into something that try to sound like it was deliberate. It's not deliberate. He can't stick to a single thought in his mind. So then he decided that he was going to coin it something before somebody else controlled the narrative. I'll give him credit on that because he figured out, hey, this could be a problem. So let me try to use it to my advantage. And he called it the weave because in his mind, that's a good thing. People with dementia have the weave all the time. They start out one place, they go a couple other places, and sometimes they eventually come back to where they started. And that's how he sold it. So, there's no surprise that he would do that. That's why and it's funny because he'll bash other politicians for using a teleprompter. They'll put one in front of him, and then when he refuses to read it anymore, then he'll complain that it doesn't work. This teleprompter, get this out of here. Don't pay them for this teleprompter. Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with the teleprompter, bro. It's always something wrong with the teleprompter, no matter where you go. Really? The weave, yeah. We know what the weave is. The weave is your ass can't focus on one damn thing. And you go back and forth. There's a weave, all right. But that's what's happening. So he comes out there, he has remarks, and then he just goes and starts shooting off the cuff. And he gives up on prepared statements, teleprompters, and things like that because he just has to be himself. But yeah, he took that and tried to turn it into something political really, really fast. And it was really sick, his approach to that. And then not only trying to just tie it into DEI or blame the past administration, but taking something that could just turn out to simply be an accident. And then what's going to end up happening is if it gets investigated and it's just said, hey, it was an accident, then he's going to, the news cycle is so jacked up, Lori, that by the time whatever it really is comes out, we will have moved on to the umpteenth story by then. And he knows that. He's not going to ever be accountable for what he says because he throws so much shit against the wall to see what sticks. You have to constantly keep refocusing. How do I know? What was the biggest story 2 days ago? The fact that he had the OMB put out a memo shutting down grants and aid services that could include things like Head Start, Meals on Wheels, Social Security, Medicare, all those kind of things, programs that people count on to live. Things, VA, things that people that voted for him count on. Them posting stuff about, oh, Mr. President, I'm sure you didn't really mean for this to be shut down, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, he did. Of course he did.
SNAP, food,
Yep.
everything shut down.
Shut down. And here's the thing. Any pause can only be temporary, but you're supposed to give Congress a 30-day notice.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do it.
No.
He just said, well, now here's the funny part. There's a law in place that says that's what you're supposed to do. But here's the funny thing. Donald Trump has no problem breaking the law, because he believes that when he breaks the law, he has a good reason. But when undocumented people in this country break the law, he considers them criminals and they have to be deported. So the people you consider criminals, they have to be deported. But you get to choose when you want to be a criminal when you break the law. And it should be okay. And you have people in his party that will defend that and say, oh, yeah, it's a good idea for him to do that so that they can identify fraud and waste and everything else. You mean to tell me why a program is running, you can't identify the fraud and the waste in it without causing undue necessary confusion across the country, where portals for Medicare were shut down, folks doing Meals on Wheels, where seniors depend on that to bridge the gap from a food shortage that they have, where those meals come in handy for them. You literally want people to stop getting food while you figure out if there's fraud and waste going on. This is the FO part. You're already FA. Now you're in the FO. I mean, I don't know. And the crazy thing, Lori, is the people that support him, they still do. These people are nuts. They can't see what's coming because they refuse to see what's coming.
Just to add on to that point. So I think I know it was yesterday. I was watching something on Facebook where they had a young white woman who was crying and talking about how she couldn't pay her rent and this one and everything else. And, how it's so hard and how it's so this and crying and how are we going to be? And they, in China, it's this and everything else. But it's just kind of like you voted against things you spite your nose. Spite your nose to bite your face. Again, if I'm incorrect on the way that it's said.
You cut your nose, spite your face. Yeah.
Cut your nose, spite your face. Thank you. But it's just like it's and then it's like, well, this is what you asked for. You asked for this. You thought that problem was a brown and non-white people problem. So now, because he shut off. He had made that stopping of all funding, and a lot of the people, and again, I'll put the example of talking about SNAP or people for food stamps, and it's mostly white people that get it, but you assumed it was a brown people or a non-white people thing, and now all of a sudden they crying, talking about, oh God, I can't get no food, I can't get no eggs, I can't get nothing, and you clearly didn't mean this when you shut everything off. But we as black people or brown people or non-white people, we've gone through this.
I'm going to say this as I always say this. there's evidence to what I'm saying. Do you
Thank
notice?
goodness.
Do you notice that most of the people that support Trump and Republicans maybe finished high school, but did not go to college or finish college? College educated men and women lean Democrat, period, point blank, full stop. Not now, before anybody asks me, I didn't say all college graduates vote Democratic. I said they lean, meaning that more than most, once they go to college, they end up leaning Democratic, which points to why there's always this assault on liberal school, liberal arts, and things like that. The assault is mostly because they know those numbers too. They know that the more kids go to school, the more that Republican ideology is a turnoff. So if we can, I don't know, abolish the Department of Education and try to set our own agendas earlier in schools, we have a better chance of turning these kids right wing. That's what they're doing. Well, Brian, why are you bringing that up? Because people are uneducated when it comes to the way things work. If you don't learn in school how the legislative, executive, and judicial branch make up all three branches of government and that they're all co-equal, then it will lead you to believe that your gas prices are dictated by who the occupant of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue is. If you don't understand civics, you may simply think that simple majorities in the House, whether it's the U.S. House or the Senate, can get legislation passed. If you don't have a strong fundamental of civics, you may not understand what constitutional amendments are. You may not understand what's in the Constitution. You will be those dumbass people that say that America was built on Christianity, because you will believe that it had to be built on Christianity when in fact it was not. Racist. But you will believe that because you haven't been educated into anything else. They want you to believe that America is a Christian nation. It is not. All of those things come back to being educated and learning. They know that once you get to a point where you learned enough stuff and then you understand that this stuff isn't true, then you can't really align yourself with that anymore. So they're trying to keep you from aligning. Brad says, or you believe like Trump that you can sign a bunch of executive orders and think that you've done something.
Exactly.
The executive orders are more of a ego trip for Trump than it is anything. And I'm glad you said that, Brad, because I wanted to look at some of the actual executive orders that Trump did sign over the last 8 days. And really, let's look at some of them and figure out what the hell does it really mean. Because half this shit ain't worth the paper that it's written on. And he has this little straight white guy that walks up to him and says, "Sir, this order hereby says da 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 da." And he looks up at him and he's like, "Yeah, isn't that a shame? Let's sign it."
And that scribble.
Ooh. And have you and that writing looks like something that a 2-year-old would do. Let's just be honest.
Oh, it's awful.
Come on now. Y'all know that if there was a person in school that wrote like that, y'all would sit there and whoop his ass every day in the playground. Y'all know good and well. He was that kid on the short yellow bus. Y'all know that's what y'all dealing with. It reminded me of that Bernie Mac thing where he's at the bus stop and he goes, "Hey." Anyway, you hadn't seen it. So anyway.
Yeah.
It popped up on my Facebook feed today, and I was just cracking up. But that's what he reminds me of. Like, y'all know he's off. Y'all know he autistic or something. Something wrong with Trump. But anyway, one executive order is called the Unleashing American Energy. And all it does is it encourages energy exploration and production on federal lands and waters. Biden had put a freeze on that. Number one, because there are plenty of land leases for oil drilling out there, over 2,000 at one point, that have not been used yet. But Trump has tried to convince people that the more you drill, the better your gas prices will be. Not explaining to people that oil production in the U.S. does not just stay in the U.S. People still want to believe that oil that is drilled in America, all of that oil stays in America. It does not. BP can drill off the coast of Louisiana and sell their oil to anybody around the world. This whole America First thing that he's been selling you is a scam. There is no such thing as America First in the sense of we just block ourselves away from the rest of the world. He's going to learn that with Colombia, where 90% of our coffee, flowers, and things like that come from South American countries, including Colombia. We do not produce enough things in this country to be independent of food from the rest of the world. We grow or export it. We import other things, whether it's soybean, rice, fruit, vegetables, all kinds of things get imported into this country from other countries. We are in a global market, fighting with people like Canada when we rely on them for things like lumber. Lori, do you know that we actually rely on Canada for energy?
Yes.
Do you know that Canada supplies a lot of energy to New York?
Yes.
Do you know if Canada wanted to make Trump Tower go dark, they could?
Yes. And they supply wheat and absolutely.
They give us electricity.
Yes.
That feeds the place where your beloved tower is, bro. We get all kinds of things from different countries. So then you start wanting to go into tariffs, and we'll talk about tariffs in a second. But it's just so crazy that he's convinced people that oil drilling, the more you drill here, the better your gas prices. They believe it. They believe it. Another executive order was called declaring a national energy emergency. Again, it talks about facilitating energy projects like leasing land for oil, gas production, building new pipelines. But notably, solar and wind power are excluded from the definition of energy. From the definition of energy. Wind is not energy, apparently, and solar isn't either.
Right. And there's no climate change as well. Just saying.
Another one is called Putting America First in International Environmental Agreements, which basically was Trump pulling us out from the Paris Climate Accord.
Yep.
That all of that language basically was to pull us out of the Paris Climate Accord. There's another one called Unleashing Alaska's Extraordinary Resource Potential. These are the names of these executive orders.
Executive orders.
And this is in line with the whole pledge to drill, baby, drill. It establishes that it's U.S. policy for the country to fully avail itself of Alaska's vast lands and resources, prioritizing natural gas reserves. What's going on, franchise? I'm looking at some of these. Hello. Looking at some of these executive orders. There's another one that's called Ending the Weaponization of the Federal Government. And this is to hold the previous administration accountable for alleged weaponization of the federal government, directing agency heads to review previous criminal enforcement, civil enforcement, and intelligence conduct that appears politically motivated, and to provide recommendations for holding actors accountable.
I have a question. And again, I'm not sure. It wasn't an executive order, but didn't Trump want to say that he wants to reopen Guantanamo Bay for all of the migrants that have been that have been picked up by ICE, and he wants to then send them there before they get deported to wherever the heck they go?
Yeah, see, the thing is, the cruelty is the point. That's what you're always going to see is, and we'll talk about that too with regards to Colombia and why Colombia would not allow U.S. military planes to drop off folks there that had been deported from the country. So that was the weaponization. There's another one called the Restoring Accountability to Policy Influencing Positions Within the Federal Workforce. Now, this one is one of the most dangerous executive orders. And
how so, my friend?
Well, for somebody that claimed through the campaign that he knew nothing about Project 2025, this is one of the staples of Project 2025, because what it does in effect is it takes Class F government employees that are what we call civil servants, and reclassifies them as political appointees. Now, I'll give you an example. Anybody that's classified as a political appointee serves at the pleasure of the president. Many of those positions have to be cabinet approved. Not all of them, but many of them have to be cabinet approved. So when you have somebody like the Attorney General, the National Security Advisor, the head of the FBI, those are all political appointees, so that when that president leaves office, many times the new president replaces those people in those positions. Except Joe Biden didn't replace like Christopher Wray, for example, who was the head of the FBI that Donald Trump had. He could have appointed him, but he didn't. But those are political appointees. But what happens is, as administrations change from one administration to another, there are civil servants that stay from one administration to another for the continuity, right? But what Trump wanted to do, and what was in Project 2025, is take those thousands and thousands of civil servants that have what they call civil service protections, meaning that typically you just can't come in and fire them because they have tenure and things like that, and you would have to show cause to be able to terminate them. Okay, can't just let them go because they don't serve at the pleasure of the occupant of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. They are civil servants that just carry over from one administration to another. The only way he would be able to purge that is reclassify them from being civil servants to political appointees. So his executive order, and I don't even know if you can make that in an executive order, but that's his executive order to do that. And that's why you saw earlier this week them send all 2 million federal workers buyout. Say that if you quit within the next week, we'll pay you for the next 8 months, etc. Now, here's the funny thing. You freezing money that Congress has already appropriated to pay for things that has already been appropriated, which is breaking the law. But now you're willing to sit there and spend God knows how much in severance pay to something that has not been appropriated by Congress.
Yes. Absolutely. So,
Welcome to the show, franchise.
I'm sorry there was an accident on 45. I think there was a pedestrian struck. Didn't look good. But I'm gonna run around all night. Think it's the new year for me. I hadn't been on the show. It's my first time on the show since the beginning of 2025. So happy New Year's all. Just an example of how far behind I am. I actually am still in possession of my brother and sister's Christmas gifts.
Well, I was just thinking that we was gonna get them as birthday gifts.
Well, I think they're going to be at this point. They might be Valentine's gifts.
All good. All good.
Hopefully,
It's
I
all
get it before Juneteenth. But
You're a little aggressive, damn.
Yeah, I got an aggressive stance. So the thing about reclassifying a lot of these employees and stuff, and especially for Trump, and people go, well, what's the difference? Well, as my brother said, it's really about these positions aren't political positions. They don't have to skew to an agenda of the current president because a lot of these positions don't need to. What's a good example, franchise? The National Weather Foundation Association, whichever it is. I think association. But so back in the first Trump presidency, the first dark ages, there was a hurricane that came in and he decided to mark on a piece of paper, a Sharpie, what he thought the direct, just crazy. Right. I mean, but he did so much stuff. This is one of those things maybe you forgot. The problem that he had is that nobody from the National Weather Association would back him up on his Sharpie.
Yep.
Mark. He's like, well, his whole thing was, well, I didn't do it. Somebody gave it to me like this. And they're like, no. Well, even if somebody did, it's wrong.
And it's not going towards Alabama.
It's not going towards Alabama. We don't do that because we base our response to natural disasters based on these prediction models and stuff, where we can front load supplies and help and blah blah. There's a whole thing with coordinating with FEMA. Another organization. Example. But Trump was upset because he couldn't just order them to say yes, he's right. And so therefore, which I don't know why, because he's called a liar every day, 1,000 times a day. I don't know why one particular lie stands out before any other lie that he would be like, just stop lying. That's, you tell kids, like, if you don't want to be called a liar, stop lying. But his solution to it is not to stop lying, is to enlist people who will lie for and with him. And so that's why he wants to reclassify these people, so he can tell a scientist, I don't care about the science. It does not fit my agenda.
Right.
So you go, well, hurricanes seem to be a small thing. Yeah, of course. But as I remember, there was something that went on during his first term that had something to do with science and medicine, and he responded poorly to it. And he could not direct people, not real scientists, to even I remember the face of the one young lady when he was talking about bleach on the inside and ultraviolet light.
Deborah Burks.
Yeah, she's just looking like, what is wrong with you? But had that been a politically appointed position, she'd have, whatever he says.
Exactly.
Right? And so Fauci and a lot of other people during COVID, non-political positions within the government who would not agree with him, who would issue statements as an agency, because the agency was not beholden to a political directive and stuff, that contradict a lot of the policies he wanted, because they were like, and that's the other thing too. It's not just say what I say, it's also policy related in terms of there were agencies who pushed back because he was violating laws and policies, but there were political appointees. They would just simply direct their people not to look at those things.
Right. Exactly. So there's a line of petty in a lot of this, where it's him settling scores against agencies that he felt like were not totally that did not bend the knee to him. That he felt, but this is the person that says I'm gonna be a dictator on day one, because he really does have that dictator tendency where he believes, and he said in his first term, the president's authority is total. Now, because he does not speak well, that's not a complete sentence. But what he was intimating is that whatever I say can never be questioned. It's above reproach, is what he was saying. He believes that the president is like a king. Whatever the king wants, the king gets. And nobody should ever dare to sit there and say, no, sir, you cannot nuke a hurricane. No, sir. Iron Dome is not really a real Iron Dome above the country. You stupid mother. Well, no, a stealth jet is not invisible like Wonder Woman's jet. It just simply means you can't pick it up on radar. He really thinks they're invisible.
So here's the thing, because, and you said it, because you would think that somebody who believes he's as smart as he is would have a better vocabulary and be more elegant in the way that he speaks and communicates his thoughts and stuff, because it is such a moronic eruption of words that comes out of his head. His cronies like to clean up with, no, well, he didn't mean that. And
what he meant to say was,
yeah, and
he says he has the best words, which I've never heard anybody proclaim I have the best words. That's the thing,
like, but it allows people to project onto him whatever they want. It's right. Amazing thing. They get to project onto him whatever they want. And and like I say, this is my first show back. I missed the inauguration. I didn't look at it. Like, I was going to watch the inauguration of some book. But one of the things I said before we ended last year was I hope everybody gets what they want and more. And I think people are starting to get what they want more, except for lower grocery prices. Eggs are going up. So I don't know why y'all feel for that.
Gas done gone back up.
Gas is going up. The stock market's up and down. Yeah. So I don't know why y'all feel. I mean, here's the thing. And I hate to pick on a particular group, but I'm going to pick on my Latin brothers and stuff.
Yes, please do.
Everybody that was, I hope, as your family is being ousted out of this country, I hope, because I hope that's what's happening to you. I hope if you voted for Trump, I hope that one of your family members is right now, there's somebody knocking on the door, and ICE is outside saying hello. I hope when you go back home that you don't get back in the country. Brad
says, sorry, I'm cooking, y'all. Sorry, I'm cooking, but y'all are cracking me up.
That's why they're not. They are not going to, because they even said how that, like, on some of the like Hispanic grocery stores, like Compare, like Super Compare, like they don't go anymore because ICE is set up there.
Yeah,
to get them.
You know, they use carrots to catch rabbits. They're gonna use avocados to catch y'all.
Hey, look, and it is sad.
You can't have no guacamole anymore.
Because when I do my work, I work in a truck and stuff, and I sit outside in my truck and write reports and stuff. And I like to sit outside the Compare grocery stores just to catch my sisters walking in and out and stuff. And y'all just not showing up like you used to. And I don't know why. I don't know why.
I told you.
I'm going to have to find
the trap. It's the money trap.
That's affecting the economy.
Yeah, y'all gonna make me go sit in the Popeyes parking lot to try to catch them now. And that's not what I was looking for.
You can catch them in front of Compare Foods or Family Dollar, Dollar General. Trust me.
Yeah,
but it's been kind of sparse.
Slim pickings.
Yeah. Well, and so here's the thing. Because and we talked about this before. When Biden won the presidency, he had 90% support from black males. Black females, without question, always vote the right way. If you ever want to know which way to vote, 92%. Go find a black woman. She will tell you how to vote, and it will be correct. So never question that. But when I met a vice president, former, was running, she only garnered 80%, and a lot of people talked about that 10% of black men and why they were voting and stuff. And of course, the things I said was, why are white women always voting against their own interests? And then what's going on with Latinos?
Yep.
Because that's the win in Florida is majorly because of that. Now, it wasn't the sweep after when the numbers have come in and stuff. It wasn't the sweeping win that Trump wanted, but he won, and so he had a mandate. And his mandate said day one, fire up ICE and go into these communities and start sending people home. And you talk about the military flights and deport people and stuff like that. And again, this is what you voted for. And a lot of people, one of the things that I said before the election was a lot of Latinos, but they're not a monolith because they come from different countries and different backgrounds and stuff. Most of them see themselves as, he wasn't talking about me. He was talking about criminals.
Yeah.
No, he was talking about anybody who does not have a passport and who didn't come here quite so legally. And if that's you, and it probably was, or a family member who you could have talked to, who was here legally, who got you, however that comes out and stuff. Again, Merry Christmas. Just like I'm holding on to those gifts, somebody else gonna be holding on to your Honda Civic while you head on back.
Your Ford F-150.
No, your F-1, sorry, 250.
No, the 250s, yeah, and the dualies. And the dualies.
Somebody's been holding on, and you're not gonna get it back by Juneteenth.
No, you never see that. Something
not gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
Look, bro. I'm trying to tell you that. I'm gonna take it back for a second. You were talking about how Trump can't speak real good. Well, hopefully Zorro don't come back out with no damn Be Best either.
I didn't know she was throwing for Zorro, Hamburger, Houdini. I thought it was a tribute to Houdini.
I thought she was Carmen, like Carmen San Diego. She was Carmen San Diego. That's what she was. I was like, what the?
Well,
oh my God.
First time I saw that, I said, what the hell in the Annie Are You Okay is going on?
Oh, yeah. All she needed to do was lean.
Yeah, I thought she was going to lean. That's all she was missing.
That's all she was missing.
That one of them damn Tommy guns. That's what I was waiting on.
That's all I had to say was she was Carmen San Diego. Yeah. Where in the world is Carmen?
If she had grabbed her crotch, I would have been like, God damn,
I believe out of all the characters we mentioned that Lori is the most correct because she is going to be Carmen San Diego because she's not going to be seen anywhere in the next 4 years.
You're going to be like, where is she?
She's going to, when she's selling stuff and promoting stuff, that's when you're going to see her stuff. But she was tired of it last time.
Yeah.
And you can see through the campaign. Like, how many times did she show up during the campaign?
Looking like Hamburger.
It is. And because Donald loved McDonald's so much, he was like, I'm feeling kind of sexy right now.
But the thing is that people were even talking about the fact that she was using that hat as a way to keep him off of her. Because when he would try to lean in and kiss her, he kept bouncing against the brim. So he couldn't even lean in and really kiss her. So he had to air kiss her because he couldn't get past the brim.
Protection.
Be best.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem I have with that. My problem is that man paid for that woman, and he's not getting his money's worth. That's my problem.
No, he's not.
With their relationship. He's not getting his money's worth.
No, he ain't getting his money worth. And I like her Iron Dome. because it kept him away.
Yes, I think that is her Iron Dome. That is exactly correct.
If you start seeing her wear hats like that all the time, you're gonna know what's up.
She's not gonna be able to wear the hat no more because the hat got deported last week. It was on a military flight going back to Peru, so it's the hat's no longer in the country.
Just crazy. But yeah, so you know, I work in the hotel business, and we've been noticing that some of our main clientele during the weekdays are construction workers, contractors, and folks like that. And it's been drying up. I was on a call today with one of my properties, and she said, yeah, some of the housekeepers said, we'll be back. We just don't know when. Because they ain't coming. Yeah. I said, what y'all gonna do? So a lot of these hospitality workers are gonna start saying, hey, wait a minute. This fool really, they rounding up people. They've been doing raids in Chicago, New York, Detroit. They're hitting all the blue cities and stuff, Colorado. They're hitting all the blue cities to really try to drive home a point that they're going to round up people. But it's going to be it's going to kill the economy because a lot of these service industry jobs, meat packing plants, fruits, flower picking, stuff like that, really go into this unrepresented community that is now being put out there as the reason that your life sucks so bad that once we get rid of all these people, then your life will start to become better. But oh wait, when it doesn't, then they're gonna realize we done effed around now.
Well, so here's the thing. It's and you're absolutely right. It was actually a tactic that Hitler used when he rose to power. It was these other people. But here's the thing: there's always other people. So when prices go up for food and stuff, which he promised to bring down because of this, it will be another set of people. It might be Jews. It might be because they can, that whole theory that they control money and stuff like that, and they're raising prices and they're price gouging you and blah, blah, blah. But it's never going to be the administration or Donald Trump. It's never going to be his fault. He's cocked. I mean, to tell you how ready he is to always point the finger at other people. Look at the tragedy that happened yesterday with the aircraft in DC.
That's what we were talking about. We talked about at the beginning about his whole blaming DEI, and then he signed an executive order today, basically blaming Biden and Pete Buttigieg. An executive order he signed today, blaming Pete Buttigieg and Joe Biden for transportation issues like that and failures, even though him and Elon Musk forced out top officials at the FAA just last week and stuff like that. And as Brad pointed out earlier in the show, accidents happen anyway. So even if people have been in the position, that doesn't mean that it could have been prevented.
I think that's probably so. The bigger thing, if you looked at former President Barack Obama's statement that he put out and stuff, it wasn't about pointing fingers. It's just a tragedy. Right. And I think, a lot. So it's so funny when we have a school shooting, it's always too soon to politicize it. When we have an actual accident and tragedy and stuff. I didn't see the show. I didn't get to see.
No, but it's crazy. He did. That's how I know we're related, because I said the exact same words. No, it's good that you said that though, because I said when there's a school shooting, they always say it's too soon to talk about it. But because you're politicizing the situation. But as soon as this happened, these people ain't been dead for 24 hours. And he already coming out trying to lay blame as to whose fault it is while an investigation is ongoing. So no, I didn't mean to cut you, but it was just so funny how you said that. And I was like at the beginning, said that word for word. So that's just crazy because a lot of times, there's a lot of shows have production shows and they kind of talk about stuff. We did not previously talk about this.
No.
So that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, to my big brother's point, and learn from the best. We the best. it really is. It really is that way, and it's sad because there's absolutely no reason to point any fingers at anything, especially this early. Maybe let the um, agencies do their accident investigation and stuff, figure out what
Yes.
happened, figure out
Yes.
where the weak points are, because that's what their job is, and let them do their job. And right now, we just console people and do what we can to heal from tragedy. Um, you know, and to the point about school shootings, same thing. But the issue with that is that we kind of already know where the breakdowns are when people are shooting and stuff, and those are not so much accidents as they're acts of terror. And so the classification gets a little bit different, because if you can politicize a mid-air collision, of course you can politicize wildfires. Of course you can politicize anything, Mother Nature, hurricanes and stuff. Um, as we still have people in our government who believe that the weather's being controlled by some cabal within the government and stuff. It's absolutely insane. I've got my popcorn out for the next 4 years and stuff. My New Year's resolution is that, number one, I'm not going to day-to-day the Trump administration because they're not going to kill me. I know that's what the goal is to run my blood pressure up and send me to an early grave. I refuse, Satan. I rebuke you. Not going to happen. So I'm not going to date, because he is day to day with law breaking and lies and stuff like that. It's one of those kind of things, and it's the same show. So even if I go a couple of days, I can, wherever I pick back up, it's the same stuff. So no need, if you're gonna follow some advice from franchise, don't day to day this. There's plenty. He does stuff every day. There's plenty for you to get riled up every two. Just schedule a day. Doesn't matter what day it is. He'll do something that day.
He'll do it.
Basically, Trump is like the Truman Show.
He is.
He is.
So that's why I said, I was just going to touch on some of the executive orders, because I'll touch on some more of them throughout the course of whenever. It's not going to change. He may add a few more here and there and just give us more stuff to talk about that we can identify that are directly connected to Project 2025. But I'm going to make this hard pivot away from Trump and all of that right now to go into our last block before we go. And this is a little bit different topic, but kind of related to Trump again. 4 Black artists have faced some scrutiny because of their willingness to participate in Trump inauguration parties and things like that by performing. Specifically, Snoop Dogg, Nelly, Rick Ross, and Soulja Boy all performed in some capacity at Trump inauguration events that happened. And it spurred a lot of backlash, especially with Snoop, because there was plenty of past videos of Snoop dogging Donald Trump, even one where he went as far as to criticize anybody that would perform for Donald Trump. He was going to clown they bitch ass N-word hard and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yep. And he even sat there and did a impression of a slave acquiescing to his slave master by saying, "Yes, sirs, I perform for you," only to sit there and go out and tap dance and do that. My question is, and I think it's a pretty easy one, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Did they sell out?
So they accepted money. So technically, yeah. Because I mean, really, if you want to get to what selling out is, that they accept payment for their services. Yes, they did. But here's my defense. I'm going to defend these artists.
You are?
I am, and here's why. When's the last time you saw Nelly in concert, Rick Ross in concert, or Soulja Boy in concert? Exactly. Snoop is probably the only one that kind of performs more on a regular basis and stuff. But them Negroes need the money. So when somebody calls and their skill set is limited because they're not going to go out to the field. So I know that we need some people to go pick some fruit. We need some people in the meat packing process and meat packing stuff. Rick Ross not going to do that. Soldier Boy not going to the field. And Nelly, bless your heart, you got a fine wife. He got better things to do too.
And 2 babies and another baby on the way.
Yeah, so, and if it was me, she'd be pregnant while she was already pregnant. That's just me. But so for them, they are performers, and they were paid to do what they do in their specialty. They're not network engineers. I understand that Rick Ross owns every Wingstop on the East Coast and stuff, but quite frankly, that chicken's trash, and that can't be worth more than like $100,000 for like 500 of them. Did they sell out? Really, the only person who was really, really, really vocal was Snoop. And my defense for Snoop is that y'all do know Snoop smokes weed, right? Snoop's not even the same person year to year. He don't remember none of that. That was years ago. You think Snoop Dogg is the same person? He's not even the same person from the Doggy Style album.
Well, no, I mean, not when he doing damn T-Mobile commercials and stuff like that. He done went mainstream.
Martha Stewart is one of his best friends. Stop playing with me. This is not the same street Snoop. Yes, he went on this whole thing about Trump and da. But that was before somebody offered him a couple $1 million.
Yeah.
So technically, yes, they sell out. Hopefully at a good price.
Is it something that folks should hold against them?
No, because these are not the artists from the civil rights movements. There's no Harry Belafonte in this group and stuff. There's no principal moral actor. These are entertainers. That's all they are. They're not pillars of the community. They're not role models. They're not political activists. They are not the voices of Black people. They are individual, as Snoop would say, shuck a jive boys. And so what they do is what they do. They can say anything. If Rick Ross says tomorrow that he's supporting whoever, I don't care. Rose ain't got nothing for me.
Well, that's true. But do you not see and I'm sure you do, but do you not kind of see the whole thing of, and Nelly tried to say, well, I'm not supporting necessarily the man, I'm supporting the office. I grew up in a military family and I perform for soldiers that lay down their lives and stuff like that. So I'm just performing, and he tried to draw it up that way. But when you have somebody that is in an office where they are cozying up to white nationalists, where they've referred to countries as shithole countries, where they basically use DEI as a slur against Black people, and then Nelly tried to say, which was so ignorant, he said, well, yeah, let me, you want to hold stuff against people. Let me think. Oh, yeah. I remember when Trump sat there and signed the crime bill. Oh, no, that wasn't him. That was Joe Biden and this and that and the other. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, wait a minute. Trump done a whole lot of stuff. But you said, but you can't hold the fact that Trump used to withhold apartments from Black people back in the 70s as changing. But then you go and blame Joe Biden for the crime bill when he done a whole lot more stuff since the crime bill to show that he's changed in his positioning.
So what I'll say again, and this is just my, I would ask our audience, have you ever bought anything from Walmart? If you have, you too support horrible people. And so it's real easy. If you put gas in your car, do you know which companies are the better companies to get your gas from?
I was going to ask you about that because
you have the list.
Because you have 2 Teslas, and Elon Musk is a terrible human being.
He is.
How do you reconcile with that? Or do you? Does it even cross your mind?
You know, so I thought about it, and honestly, because I thought about it, I was like, you know what, he's a terrible person. But here's the thing that I reconcile with that is that I enjoy my cars, and I don't care because, and this is the cynical part of me. When I say to you that most corporations are horrible people, are horrible,
Yes.
are run by horrible people, and they do bad things.
Yeah.
Whether it's busting labor lines up. Why do you think that all these CEOs were at their inauguration stuff, cozying up to Trump and stuff?
Correct.
It's because workers' rights are going to be under attack for the next 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. Whether it's you doing Tesla or whether Jeff Bezos is sitting there licking his ass and he has Amazon, the Washington Post,
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
Do you have Amazon Prime?
I sure do.
Did you log on to Facebook today? Instagram.
I did.
All these people, and so when you say, you know, who and what and stuff, one of the things I was talking to a guy, and I mentioned this on the show before. You know, I quite honestly, I think the United States, based on its history, it deserves Trump. I think that whatever things that he leads us into, and he will. Some people will say it's by coincidence, or he just happened to be the president at the time. Nope. He's going to shape some things, and there's going to be my prediction, which is way better than the prediction about why Dallas didn't have to go out to Saquon Barkley.
Or Derrick Henry.
And Derrick Henry, because they were not game changers. Anyway, my prediction is that if you want to look back on this in January the 30th, Trump's going to have us button heads with somebody in the next year and a half.
I agree.
And there's going to be some shots fired and stuff because of his mouth and no one's able to make him back down. And that whole thing about voices of reason and stuff, Project 2025 is making sure that there are no voices of reason with any branch of the government to stop him from trying to reach out and do whatever. Basically, what this presidency is going to test is our judicial system. Just like the judge that said one of his executive orders was blatant. Yeah, they're trying to get rid of birthplace. I mean, it's
blatantly unconstitutional.
Blatantly unconstitutional. The most easily in 20-something years of being on the bench, or 30-something years of being on the bench, the most unconstitutional thing he's ever seen. He's Reagan appointed.
Yeah. I mean, it's in the Constitution. If you are born here, you are a citizen.
So
the only way that you're not a citizen is if you're not beholden to the laws of this country.
So
you're a foreign diplomat. If you have a child here, then your child is not an American. They travel with the country that the diplomat is from. Everybody else is beholden to this country.
And I'll tell you right now, I can in my mind hear oral arguments in the Supreme Court over that where they try to reverse it.
Yes.
The checks and balances of this country are going to be tested over the next 4 years.
Big time.
And what I'm telling you is that I'm working for the city. I've been working for a year. I need 5 years to be vested. At the end of that 4 years, when it's burning, I'm pulling chalks and I'm leaving. Franchise is going to be so y'all enjoy me. I can do the show from overseas, but y'all
we'll be over there with you.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this country is going to be able to recover from the damage that's going to be done in the next 4 years.
No, he's going to set it up. This country like he's synced every business that he's run.
Yeah, he's absolutely, because you have to understand. Again,
yes, Brad,
he has escaped. He's escaped consequence again and again and again. This is just the latest part of that, where he's escaped some consequence.
What's going to happen though, Jermaine? And I'm gonna read Brad's comment in a second. But what's going to happen when he finally gets tired of the Supreme Court and just dismisses all of them? And writes an executive order that says, You know, I'm tired of litigation. No more Supreme Court. You're done. What's going to happen when he does it? Now, anybody that just heard me say that is probably like, Brian, you crazy. You fool it. These are the same people that just said if he does anything within the scope of his duties, he's exempt, he's immune. So, Supreme Court, have you handed over unfettered, unchecked power to a psychopath that may do you in?
Yes, yes, they have.
Yeah.
And it's such, and that's kind of the thing, is that I don't think that a lot of the people a lot of people, and I'm going to be generous here, because who voted for Donald Trump?
Racist.
Predominantly white males, white females.
Right
There were a
next.
lot. He had a lot of boosts in minority votes. He did not win the youth vote. They kind of saw through that. He lost the youth vote. But he did win in a lot of different categories. Don't listen to his numbers for what he won in and by how much, but he did.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people who were voting for things because he promised to lower. He promised to take care of individuals. That was his whole thing. Is that, look where you are. Do you feel like you're better off today than you were when I was president? And the problem is that a lot of you idiots can't remember realistically what it was like, and you romanticize things. That's why
Yes.
you let your ex-boyfriend come back over and eat your kids' snacks and beat on you again, because you forgot that Antoine hits you when you talk back to him.
Right.
But you thought it was a good idea to let him back in the house.
Because
Now you got the
you
police
went
back
off
over
of some
there.
nostalgia.
Yeah, you have some nostalgia about stuff. You can't trust your memories, is what I'm trying to tell you. Stop doing that. You're not good people. You're not very smart.
Brad says, I'll go a step further. There will be skirmishes right here in this country within a year. He is full tilt, and Stephen Miller is doing a lot of driving. Absolutely.
Yeah. Brad, brother, I gotta agree with you. I think because you have to understand the number one playbook of rich people in order to rob everybody else is to keep us against each other.
Each other, right?
And
That way we're not paying attention to what they're doing.
Yeah, not paying attention, because we talk about all these executive orders and stuff, but he issued so many. How many can you keep up with? And that was his whole thing during the first term. When I say that you can tune in daily, or you can just wait because it's just going to be, he produces so much BS on a daily basis
By the
that
time you want to check him on one thing, he done moved on to something else.
He done moved on, and you can't. If are you trying to follow? It's too much to follow.
It's too much, yeah.
Because he crimes every day. It's too much for any one person, and so they're sneaking stuff through past the goalie, because it's just a volume kind of thing. He's just machine gunning all the stuff out there, and whatever sticks. He doesn't care.
Yeah, he just
about
throws
certain
balls in
individuals
the air and sees how many of them you're gonna catch, knowing that you're gonna miss more than you catch.
Yeah, you're gonna miss more than you catch,
and that's what he wants. You know, that is
and be outraged over here while I'm doing stuff over here.
Mm-hmm. That's a strategy. So so like you said, we're going to keep looking at stuff like that. What I would ask people to do is go and look at those executive orders that he signed, and you tell me which ones address food costs, cost of gas, cost of groceries, the cost of rent, mortgage rates, anything like that. If you want to know somebody's priorities, look at their budget. If you want to know somebody's priorities, look at the things that he did on day one that he made a priority. None of those things had anything to do with the things that the people that voted for him voted for. So
I think DEI helped with the eggs.
The memories will betray you, because he didn't write one damn executive order to hold global grocers accountable for price gouging at all.
It was the DEI one, because he said that brown eggs shouldn't be discriminated against these white eggs and stuff. Y'all need to get these white eggs. We need to get the birth rates of these white eggs up.
And now the cost of eggs has nothing. Now it's because of bird flu. But when Biden was president, it wasn't because of the avian bird flu at all. But now it's the bird flu. So anyway, well, we will have a whole lot more to continue to go over. We could go to show another 3 hours talking about this stuff here. But you're in luck. We will be back again next week to talk some more about that. And oh, by the way, yes, Snoopy is a sellout. And also, by the way, in another week and a half, we will be having the Super Bowl. And all I got to say is,
I love it.
Fly, Eagles, fly, baby.
I don't like Eagles fans, but sure.
Can't wait. Laura, you like it, don't you? Yeah, look at her. Yeah, she like that. Anyway, we will see y'all again next week. Thank y'all. Thank my panel here, Lori Parker and the franchise Jermaine Parker. We will. He said no. Brad says no. It's gonna happen, Brad. We're your only hope for taking down my homie. But anyway, we will see y'all again next week. Y'all take care. Peace.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the